Hello and welcome to my channel, Coding with Zach. Today we'll be covering stuff for absolute beginners to Python. We'll be covering stuff like lists, variables, and while loops. And after we cover the basics, we'll be making a rock, paper, scissors game that we can play in the command prompt. The previous video in this series was installing Python 3.8.1 onto Windows 10. And after we installed that, we printed out this simple hello world statement. So here I'm going to be using this real quick to show you how to use variables and lists. So the first thing we're going to cover is variables. Variables are used to store information in a program. There are a bunch of different types of variables. The first type would be a number. So here we're going to say number 1 equals 20. And this is what you would call an integer number. It's a whole number. The same way we instantiated the integer variable, we'll use that to instantiate a string variable. The difference is once we instantiate the string, we use double quotes around it. So here we'll say string 1 equals hello world. So Python's pretty advanced in the way that you do not have to explicitly state what variable you're making. It just knows from the content that you're using. And what I mean by you don't have to explicitly state what the variable is that in a programming language like Java, you would have to say int number 1 equals 20 to make sure that this number 1 is an integer. But in Python, you don't have to do that, and that's why a lot of people like Python. It is a high-level programming language that takes care of a lot of stuff. Now, these variables are used to store information, but what do you do after you store it? You can print, for a simple example, we'll just print out string 1. And we'll show you exactly what it's doing. I'm already in the current working directory of desktop scripts Python, which matches the desktop scripts Python that this is in. And what I have to do here is type python hello world.py and press enter. And you see that the string 1 was printed out and it was stored here. Now to show you that this string 1 was actually printed out here, I'm going to concatenate a string in front of this and just say to concatenate a string in the print function, you have to start with a double quote and then you have to add a plus sign, and this plus sign concatenates whatever this is in quotes here to the string 1. So right here I'm going to put string 1 is printed with value of, and then so we can see that the string 1's actually being printed out. So saved it, going back to the command prompt, I'm going to type python hello world.py and see the print hello world is still being printed, and then it comes down and says string 1 is printed with the value of hello world. Now these variables can be overwritten. So right here it says string 1 is equal to hello world, but I could come down here and say string 1 is now equal to hello everyone, and then I can save it. And what will happen here is that string 1 will first be set to this, and then it will be set to this. And then to show how this is happening, I'm going to copy this print statement, bring it up here, and paste it in so we can see the difference when it happens. Going to go back, well, saving it, going back to the command prompt, type in python hello world, press enter, and you can see string 1 is printed with value of hello world, and then we change it with string 1 equals hello everyone, and then we run it again and the hello everyone is printed out. So hopefully now you can see that variables are just simply used to store information that is used later on in the program. The one issue when instantiating variables is that each programming language has a set of reserved keywords that you cannot use to name a variable. So I just went to Google and Googled Python keywords, came down here into the documentation, and these are the list of keywords. So we can't use any of these words to instantiate a variable. So I come down here back to the program and type in none. You can tell it's a keyword because it's highlighted differently. And then if is also highlighted differently. Now if I try to go back and set none equal to variable string data, just some random variable, and print none, save it. I'm going to go back to the command prompt and try to run this, and you see we get an error. So these are some things to keep in mind when you're creating variables. I'm going to clear out some of the stuff and just leave string 1, and then we'll go back and mess with numbers. So here we're going to say number 2 is equal to 40, and then we will say number 3 is equal to number 1 plus number 2. And you might know what this is going to be. 20 plus 40 is 60. So if we come down here and print number 3, we should see that printed out. Go back to the command prompt, type in Python hello world.py, and there, hello world 60, and then we still have the string 1 is printed with value of hello world. Now the other type of variable that we have to cover before we can get started making the rock paper scissors game is a list. Now a list is instantiated as list 1. Now these variable names I'm using on the left before the equal sign, they can be anything that you want. So I could say list 1, I could say string 20. I mean, it's really just whatever you want to name it. Something that is simple and easy to remember. So going back, list 1 is equal to rock, paper, scissors. And that's how you instantiate a list in Python. Now to access this list, we will have to go print and then list 1, and a list, you access it by open bracket and close bracket, and you use a number to access a specific place in the list. So 0, it always starts at 0. It doesn't start at 1. That's just a common thing in programming languages, is that we start things at 0. So list 1, to access 0, that would be rock. So I'm going to save this, come back to the command line and print it, and you see we get rock. Now if we want to see the entire list printed out, we'll just come back to list 1, and where it says open bracket close bracket 0, we'll backspace that out and we'll save it, and this should print out the entire list where it's an open bracket close bracket with rock paper scissors in it. Come back to the command prompt and print it out, and you see rock paper scissors. And this video is starting to get a little long, so we won't be able to cover the while loop, but to reiterate, we learned how to instantiate variables, how to do some operations with variables, how to print out strings, how to access lists, and this is a good start. The next video we'll be making the rock paper scissors game and covering the while loop. Please like, comment, subscribe if you found this useful. Thank you for watching.